and this will be a section on stretch, the fun part of West Coast swing, which is why we have a stretchy band here. So the stretch is the feeling at the end of the slot, and it's just like increasing the stretch on a rubber band so that when you let it go, it zings. This is where our power, our movement comes from, ladies. We're stretching out, and then he is starting our momentum going. Once we have that stretch, he doesn't have to move a whole lot. If we don't have a stretch out, it's just like a rubber band or a slingshot. If you think of yourself, ladies, as being the rock in the slingshot, being pulled back here, the rock doesn't have to fling itself, but the band, that stretchy connection that goes to the stick, that release is what gives the rock momentum. If it's stretched further back, it has more power. If it's not stretched back very much, it's just going to fall right there. So we don't have to create our own momentum. Remember, that's his job in the dance. We can't micromanage him. We have to let him do his job. So I'm going to borrow John Hess to do this. Hi, John. How's it going?
Hey, Victoria. Good.
Okay, so stretch is the woman's job primarily, but both people have a bit of stretch. But ladies, it's our job to reach that connection at the end of the slot. So we're going to use this physical therapy band. If you want to practice that, you can get a PT band anywhere, or if you're in Bend, you could borrow one from me. And this is the idea of moving from our center. So ladies, we're always moving our center backwards until he moves us forwards. So if we just start with an anchor, and this is right around my center. If I'm going to move backwards, it's going to be from about down here. If we're just doing the anchor, the 5 and 6 at the end of a 6-count pattern, the man's right foot's going to be back, lady's left foot is back, and we're going to move backwards into 5 and 6. And there's a stretch through 5 and 6. It increases slightly on 6, but we want to keep this stretch from here. So if we start with our weight on our forward foot, like we just stepped into 4, which would be either a side pass or a sugar push, we'd be moving through 4, and now we stretch through our anchor on 5 and 6. We're moving away from each other with our center. So I'm creating this stretch in the band. Now, once we're moving back into 6, the woman's job is to keep this connection and keep this stretch until he brings her forward. For the men, you're moving back into your 6 count, and as your center moves into 6, keep it moving into 1. So you're also increasing this stretch all the way up until the time that you actually step. When we anchor on 5 and 6, we want to stay back into our connection rather than bouncing out of it. So this would be bad if we bounce out of our connection and we anchor 5 and 6. Or if we're connected with our hands, we would have that same pull with our hands and we'd get 5 and 6. Now, he doesn't know where I am partway through that, and we've sort of lost the connection with each other. It limits what we can do in the dance. So instead, I want to think about keeping a constant connection back through my anchor. So again, it looks like this with constant 5 and 6. So even though you're changing your weight and you're putting your foot down on and, you're not moving your center over that foot, and certainly not over the toe. So you're not going heel, toe, heel, which gives you then way too much movement like you're in the waves, but it's back, back, and back. Nice. Now, moving that through 1, ladies, we want to keep a connection through the first count. We can let it up a bit after that, but we don't want to jump out of the connection on 1. We want to let him actually move us. So we'll move back this way a little bit, and we'll do just a side pass starting with an anchor. So we'll anchor 5 and 6, and then he leads me into 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Nice. Let's have you check up a little bit just so we stay in frame. Okay. Keep her close, guys. Don't let her get away. So if I come out of the connection on 1, it'll look like this, and this will be a bad example. So we'll start with an anchor. We'll go 5 and 6 and 1, 2. And did you see? He started to step, but I was already there, and I was out of my stretchy connection here. I want to keep this connection with his hand when eventually we get to the hand. So one more time, we'll do 2 side passes all the way through, starting with an anchor. We'll go back 5 and 6 and 1, 2, 3, and 4. I stay back 5 and 6 and slightly back 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Now, once we have our hands, it becomes harder because we have to now imagine that we're moving back from our center instead of having that physical stretch to do it. But my arm and his arm have now become that band. We have to make sure that we keep our center over our feet and we don't get out here or we don't get in here. So I'm always keeping my center over my feet, which is what gives me my balance. One of the things that I'm responsible for in the dance is a follow. I can't give him my balance and water ski on him too much. He doesn't need that much control. So with my hand connection, my soft connection that we talked about in the last segment, right here, I can move away, as can the lead, with the center, doom, doom, for the anchor. And we're just imagining that stretchy part here. So our center is moving 5 and 6. Nice. Now, doing an anchor, moving into a side pass. We get 5 and 6 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. So I'm still using this stretch slightly away from this connection. Now, when I stretch back, last thing, when I stretch back and leads, when the lead settles back into 5 and 6, into your anchor, you don't want to pull your partner with you. So I don't want to step 5 and 6 and pull him. Same thing for the lead. We're moving away from this point. We call this a post. You set the post, and then after that, you don't move these hands unless you're actually asking her to move somewhere. Because again, moving your hand is how you get the woman to move. So when we stretch away on our 5 and 6, 5 and 6, we're both moving away from this connection. We want to keep our posture good so we're not letting our shoulder come out here, and we don't want to be too open here so that we do the same thing. We're keeping square to our partner, so we have 5 and 6 with a little stretch away from here, keeping upright. Head over my center, over my hips, over my feet. Same thing for the leads. Our weight, once we get down to our feet, is very slightly back over our back foot, maybe the front part of the heel, between the front part of the heel and the arch of your foot. And so you have a settled back, but you're not back so far over your heel that now you're pulling your partner off balance. So those are the core parts of stretch. There's always more to the dance. Thank you very much.